All right, this week I'm going to talk about the ultimate goal. Now, the ultimate goal is to when you get to older age, as my cat's getting ready to knock stuff down as soon as I begin. But anyway, the ultimate goal is that when you retire, you actually are able to function like a human being. So, pretty much, you want to be able to mitigate the risk of being able to be the earliest in the nursing home, being the kind of mitigating the risk of injuring yourself from falls, pretty much living the highest quality of life you can and actually enjoying retirement. So this is the ultimate reason why you want to get started in health and fitness and everything. So now I've gone over in a lot of previous videos, like different things you can do for lifting. We've gone over a bunch of different supplements. I've talked in a couple videos. I've showcased like a quick yoga flow you could do. Plus, I've talked about it and everything. So I've showcased like a lot of stuff that you can actually do yourself. And so most people, when they look at like, oh, I have to go to like the gym. Oh well, I got better things to do. Like the excuses start in like well, I've got kids, or like I don't have the time. I work 45, 50 hours a week and everything. So now the thing, why you want that ultimate goal of being able to like function as best as you can when you retire and actually enjoy your retirement by investing in the now. That's why you want to look at that's how you want to look at it. Going to the gym is an investment. Eating actual food, not all the junk out there, is investment. And so like an excuse for eating healthy is like, oh well, it's too expensive and everything. It's like and like stuff I've heard, like I usually spend maybe $100 a week for myself, and like the usual response like, oh yeah, that's just for one person or everything. It's like, and people don't hesitate to go out on a Friday night and spend $50 at McDonald's for their family. It's like $50 for like a one meal for the family, and I'm spending less than 100 for myself. It's like you do the math and everything. So one of like, as of right now, I'm actually working at a restaurant a couple days a week. And I remember seeing one night when I was first started a bill for like a family, like a mom and dad, and they had their little kid. Like $67 for one meal to eat out and everything. And I was sitting there thinking, for one meal to eat out, you're spending almost as much as I do on a week of groceries. And like this kind of debunks the healthy eating is too expensive. You pretty much got to cut out a lot of stuff to be able to be healthy. So like going out to like the McDonald's analogy I used, are you really missing out on like going out to eat and everything? And like I've used the happy hour analogy before. It's like getting into that habit of like instead of engaging in negative behaviors and setting yourself up for failure for the weekend, why not get yourself set up like a gym bag ready, and like if you're someone who does use a pre-workout, get that all set up, get like all your food, like with doing food prep and everything. It's the same kind of concept. You have your food that you can just throw in like your lunch cooler or whatever, so that way Friday morning you can just pretty much grab and go on the way to work. So that way at work, all you have to do is like, hey, look, I got everything in my car and everything, so I can just swing by to the gym instead of setting yourself up for failure by doing the good old happy hour, and you end up wasting like a good 30, $40 on like a few drinks and like oh, gotta get some like pizza and wings for dinner and everything. So like you end up spending like a good 40, $50 on happy hour. Hey, I'm trying to make a video here. Yes, and you're demanding attention. Yes. Anyway, so you're saving yourself a good 50, $40, $40, $50 by not going to happy hour. So sure, you go to Planet Fitness, like 10 bucks right there. So like you're still saving yourself 30, $40 by like just one week. And then like the next week you're saving yourself another 40, $50. So you can see how you're saving yourself money. The financial benefit of actually doing stuff like this is that like you're starting to save like several $100s that you don't even know. Like how many times do you mindlessly go to the vending machine at work and spend like $2 or $3 here, $2 or $3 there to get like a bag of potato chips or whatever. Food prep is going to set you up so that way you save that mindless spending and everything. And by going to the gym, you don't necessarily have to become an elite athlete. So you kind of have to get that misconception out that you have to become an elite athlete. The only reason you want, well, not the only reason, but the big reason why you want to go to the gym is, like I said, the retirement is set yourself up to be able to actually enjoy it. So, now I've gone over like several of the Athlean X videos and everything. So like the perfect way to start is like, again, to like the previous video, that the Kick My X challenge that I did like at this point probably a couple months ago or something. Get into like the Athlean X programs. Most of the programs are 5 days a week, so you could easily do it Monday through Friday. You're doing like for the AX1 program, for example, you're doing 3 days of lifting and 2 days of conditioning. You're basically increasing like your muscle mass. You're helping out like with lifting. There's concepts that show like, hey, look, it actually helps with bone density. So like when you do get older and like you build up at least a decent amount of strength and everything, and you build up like a decent amount of conditioning with your heart health. So like instead of like, for instance, having like maybe a resting heart rate of like 100 beats per minute or whatever, you end up having like maybe like a resting heart rate like 55. So your heart is like working like half as much and everything. So you're increasing like your longevity by doing that. Plus like by increasing like your strength and everything. You don't necessarily have to be like one of those mass monsters that steps up on the Olympia, or you don't necessarily have to be like a power lifter that competes, but you build up like a decent amount of strength, like in case like, when you do get older, if you find yourself that you fall, you have like the muscular and skeletal strength to be able to like kind of like brace yourself and not like when you do fall, break a bone or something. Because that off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure that's like one of the, if not the biggest things that like leads to like the fastest way to go downhill when you get older is you fall and maybe you break a hip or something. This is ultimately why you want to get into it now. So this is why, instead of looking at like eating healthy as an expense, like, oh well, it's too expensive to eat healthy. Well, it's a lot more expensive when you get older, spending tens of thousands of dollars on medical bills on something that you could have easily avoided. So this is pretty much why you want to get into like health and fitness. So if you go over like a bunch of previous videos, and like I go over like there are some videos that go over articles and stuff, like for instance like an article about lifting and everything. So the ultimate like idea of this is, like I said, to set yourself up for future success. So now again, when you retire, do you want to be like the youngest person in the nursing home when you're in your early 60s, or do you want to be like the oldest person at the gym and everything? So one of the things that like ultimately has stuck with me over the years is that, like, this is, as the recording of this, it was about like 14 years ago. I was working at a Sam's Club over in New Hampshire, and one of the door associates, he was wheelchair bound because he had one of his legs amputated because of his diabetes. He was on like a half a dozen medications, and when I was there, he had his other leg amputated because of his diabetes. What didn't, this didn't necessarily stick with me. What stuck with me the most was the kind of look in his eyes, that like he had already checked out, and he was just basically waiting to die, and he was in his early 60s and everything. So that's an example that I've come across in my life, that like, it's like, now is that necessarily going to mean that's going to happen to you? No, but that's just an example of the stuff that you can avoid by taking care of yourself, by getting into lifting, getting into yoga, getting into like conditioning, getting into actually eating healthy. Now, I didn't make a video like probably like 7-8 months ago, if not like a year ago. I forget the when I actually made it, but I did make a video that like showcases that nutrition is actually eating healthy is actually the cheaper option and everything. So this is kind of me just rambling on and like why you want to like get into like a health and fitness. You don't want to necessarily look at it as an expense, like, oh, I'm spending $10 on a gym membership. I'm spending an hour at the gym. What fits better into your busy lifestyle? Spending an hour at the gym or spending 25 hours being dead? So again, do you want to set yourself up for future success by being able to actually enjoy your retirement and like mitigating the risks of all the negative aspects that you could, and or do you want to set yourself up for future failure? Like the example I used, being the youngest person in the nursing home. Well, I'd rather be the oldest person at the gym. So this is just me kind of going on a ramble, telling you like that's the ultimate goal. Setting yourself up for future success by investing time, by going to the gym, investing money and actually getting actual food and not spending it on garbage. Invest in the time to do yoga. Invest in time to do like strength and conditioning. By invest in time in actually taking care of yourself. So there are a bunch of different concepts I go over in previous videos that like you can get into as like a kind of springboard to get you into. Yes, I know you're going to like you're going to knock this stuff over. I know you, but anyway, this whole video is to showcase like, hey, look, that's the ultimate goal. So start investing in your health and fitness today. So that way, like I'll reiterate, you can actually put yourself, set yourself up for future success, and that when retirement does come, you can actually enjoy it and enjoy it for a lot longer.